Welcome to the Fret Friends Podcast, a guitar and music podcast here to instruct, inform, and showcase. Fret Friends is a podcast from AP Guitar, a music tuition business established in 2012, which provide lessons, workshops, and courses to students all over the world. So here's your host, Adam Picard.
Oh yes, hope everybody is good. We are on season 2, episode 6, and as the fine gentleman did say, my name is Adam, and I am the host of Fret Friends. Now today, you may be able to tell, I'm very excited because we are joined by Rob Late. Rob is a producer from London. He's worked with the Chainsmokers, Marshmello, Clean Bandit, Gary Barlow, 5 Seconds of Summer, to name a few. He has built an online business called Rob Late Audio, selling sample packs and educational tools to over 30,000 customers and students worldwide, and has amassed a social media audience of over 350,000, garnering sponsorships from some of the world's biggest audio brands. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is he on Fret Friends? Is he my brother? Is he my cousin? Well, let's be honest, he is not, because he's far too good looking to be associated with me in that way. But I am fortunate to call him a friend. We studied music together at college a few years ago, and we sessioned together in the same band in our early 20s, I believe we were. So let's get straight to it. Okay, that was a bit of a tease, because first of all, I would like to tell you about the bread and the butter of AP Guitar. ... Drum roll. Guitar lessons. I now teach students all around the globe, students who have had #1 hits, co-written with Taylor Swift, played with the Buddy Guy, and many who play just for fun. If you would like to join in, drop me an email on contact@apguitar.co.uk and enjoy your first half an hour lesson completely free of charge.
I tried everything to try and be what I thought was like what you should do, like on social media. I was always trying to, whether it was what music I made or what videos I made what I thought I should do, and it was stressful and it wasn't me. And I saw no result. And then I literally gave up. I was like, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like, and expecting nothing about it. And then I ended up making this video in peak lockdown where I was just bored out of my mind, and I'd given up on social media. And I made a video like recording the sounds that my pet tortoise makes. The most stupid video ever.
I remember,
it was like,
mate, I genuinely remember.
Like, but when I watched it back, I thought to myself, I've lost it. Like, people are going to think that I've gone insane. But it made me laugh, and I thought, what have I got to lose? And I just like posted it, and that was the first video where I was like, oh, this got 10 times the views I normally get.
What did that one get to then? Do you remember?
I think like at the time I was getting something maybe like 5,000 views a video or something if I worked consistently. Then that one suddenly got like 50,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then I post another one and it would get like 2,000. Another one might get 3,000. And another one might get 30,000. And I just went through like all the analytics on my videos. You know, you can see on the dashboard, like you can see the retention graph, and you can see like when people swiped away. Yeah. And I was like, why did these 2 videos do really well and these like 10 did nothing? And so I just started making videos that were more like these videos. Like, oh, okay, I see they swiped away at 5 seconds. What was I doing at 5 seconds? And I was like, oh, I wasn't really doing anything for like 2 seconds. So everyone just got bored. And I just kept like iterating those videos and trying to figure out how to get people addicted to watching videos. And it was nothing to do with like music skills. It was a whole different like set of skills that people don't seem to want to. I understand, like you get artists saying, I don't want to be a social media like video maker influencer. I just want to make music, which I completely understand. But like, there's 3 billion people using Instagram. It's worth figuring out how to make videos. It really is.
Is there an argument that in 2025 you have to be on social media if you are a musician? I think there probably is, right? And I think
Yeah.
way gone are the days where labels would do that promotion for you. I think they clearly expect you to be on these like platforms doing it yourself, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because I feel like what happens is you kind of like a label now will just find, they'll be so lazy most of the time, and they'll find like a TikTok influencer who already has like 1 million followers, and they'll be like, they look nice and they're confident, they're extroverted. And so what we'll do is they can sing, because they've been doing a little bit of covers here and there. We know they can sing stuff. So they'll just sign them to like a single deal, put them in a room with like amazing songwriters and producers for like 6 months, get a single made, then they'll just market that single back to that person's audience that they've already grown. So they haven't got to do anything really. And if the single does well, they might do another one. If it doesn't, they just cut their losses and just sack off the influencer. And it's just like,
and they go, we'll move on to somebody else who's not better, but more like current or more relevant.
Yeah, and they'll probably try and do this like 50 times a year or more. And if one gets a good like viral single, whatever it is, then
it's worth it.
They could I get notifications on my TikTok all the time saying, earn money if your video goes viral using this sound. And I'll see what the sound is, and it's like so-and-so's latest single. And so what labels are doing is they're paying TikTok to send this message out to people with a certain amount of followers. And if you use the sound and it goes viral, you get like a few £100, and then that artist gets a viral video with their sound in it, and then other people will use the sound, and it's like faux organic. It's like, I didn't choose to use the sound. They asked me to use it and they paid me to do it. So it's like they're pretending that the song has gone viral naturally because everyone's using the sound, but they're paying people to use the song in their videos, and it's just
whereas no, it is. It's actually quite horrific, really. But how long has that been going on for? That's over the last couple of years, or even less.
I think it's just the emergence of TikTok.
Yeah.
So like maybe 2021 or so. I do feel like you can say it's a bad thing, and it is, but like, Nate, 30 years ago, say, to have a career in music, in any sense, like whether it's being on stage or being like a session musician or like whatever it is, you had to really be like, let's say an artist, you had to get signed by a major label to be, or like a really good indie label to earn a good income from music. I know you had like physical sales, which probably helped a lot, but like the number of people that could do that was much smaller because you relied on these infrastructures to help market you. But now, say it's gone from like 1% to like 20% of people that now try, maybe not that much, but a lot more can now make a living out of music, because they, like, whether it is just like having an online store and selling like sample packs or vocal samples or like whatever it is and paying your rent that way, or getting yourself out there and getting known and getting hired as a producer or a session musician. Like, if you put in that extra bit of effort to like learn how to present yourself and market yourself, you stand a way better chance of making money from music in some way than compared to like 30 years ago, where you're either like being hunted because you were like a top spec artist or musician, and you still had to like market yourself anyway. You had to like try and sell singles or try and book gigs and stuff. And now I just feel like I think music generally might, this is like controversial, but might just be worse now.
True. But but like on the other hand as well, hopefully it's more inspiring to younger people who realise that, you know, with an iPhone in their pocket, I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to be privileged to own an iPhone, but a free SoundCloud account, and, you know, there's like a lot of pop artists at the moment. Is it Clairo, Biba Doobie, people like that, whose sort of like sound is lo-fi-ish, and it's sort of around like iPhone voice note recordings. Yeah. And, you know, the songs, like, of course they're mastered and everything afterwards, but that's the sound, isn't it? And you think, well, actually, apart from like the skills and the knowledge you need and, you know, the heartbreak you have to go through to write a song, well, actually, you can do it yourself. And there is that like glimmer of hope, isn't there? You can put something out, you can write a song, you can record it on your own, and you can put it out. But yeah, it's not always going to be good if everyone can do it.
Yeah, but I feel like we're just talking about having all the gear and the studio and stuff, but that there are literally 16-year-old kids making good music on their mum's iPad like, right now.
Yeah,
and they're doing that because they have all the access to information on YouTube to learn how to do stuff. And I just feel like it's great. But there was a whole like change in pop music over the past like 10 years where everything went so digital and so quantized and so perfect, and like even with like content and posting about your life, everything was airbrushed and everyone was presenting their like best selves online. And now people have finally got like sick of always seeing perfection in everything. And like with making music, people will like to hear things like when Ringo would do a fill on a Beatles song and it was like really out of time, and it's like, but no one really cared because it was a live musician playing and it had a good vibe to it. And people were so sick of like, especially like electronic music, it being so perfect. And now a lot of the time we'll like record a scratch vocal in here with like a SM7B with the vocalist like laying on the floor because they've been here for like 6 hours and they're like jet lagged or whatever. And then I'll say like, oh, it's fine, come back tomorrow and we'll record the professional vocal in the good microphone. They're like, yeah, cool. They come back and they perform it again and it's just lost all the performance because it's like it's the final take. And we end up honestly like maybe 80% of the time we use the demo vocal in the end. It just has the feeling to it. And like so many times I've recorded guitar with my phone or just like with a mic I had, or like I've been at the piano with the guitar with an idea and I just turned the piano microphone around to the guitar to quickly record this thing. And I was playing it roughly and it was something about the rough guitar. Like if you've seen Justin Bieber's like latest albums where it was just a bunch of mates recording in a room. There's loads of like string screeching when they're changing chords. There's loads of like background noise, but it's great. It's like real music now. It isn't just so digital. And I feel like people are not only can you market yourself to billions of people now online, but you haven't got to be perfect either because people love the imperfections of it. So I feel like it's almost more stressful because there's no excuses now. There's no like, it isn't about, you haven't got to rent a studio.
It's authentic, isn't it? People are, like you said, people are sick of it. And it's like the way that the pop stars used to look as well. We're not bothered about that anymore. We'd rather just people looked and sounded as they sound. Well, it's exciting, isn't it? Now, I think now's probably a good time to actually focus in on you a little bit. Because people listening will have just kind of jumped in halfway through our conversation. I think I hit record at some point there. But I would, as much as we don't have to follow this script exactly as it is, because you've got so much knowledge in the music industry and as a producer yourself, but I think people would really like to know how you first actually got into music, and if you could start right at the beginning as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, first of all. I mean, I don't think I have loads of knowledge, but again, we're British, right? So we never like to admit when we've achieved anything. But maybe I do. And I think, I think we'd have to go back to like what everyone says. Like, you know, my dad was always playing guitar around the house, and, you know, mum was playing piano and dad was always playing like the Beatles and Queen and Hendrix and all those classic bands. And when I was like 15, I do remember like the gump that I was, I decided to like I want to start playing guitar, but not like the sensible way of learning like Wonderwall or something. But I wanted to start by learning like Hendrix solos, which was like a silly way around of doing it. And I always thought like the better the more complex the music, the better it was. That's what I thought for the longest time, and like, which obviously isn't always the case. But because of that, I got into like prog rock and bands like Dream Theater and those like sort of long form progressive bands, and then like obsessing over all the heavy stuff. Like I loved like System of a Down and Limp Bizkit and all those like classics.
Mate, I still listen to them every now and then. Limp Bizkit. in my car.
Same.
Break stuff.
Yeah, just like classic songs that were so heavy, but the musicians were so good. And like, you know, like Wes Borland, the guitarist from Limp Bizkit, I still watch some of his videos of him playing and like dancing around on stage, and I just loved those riffs and the heaviness of it, and it was so good. And then like you, I was in so many like random bands just growing up, and then we went to music college, obviously, which is where I met you.
Indeed.
And like, I probably never told you this actually, but I remember like being in pretty bad bands my whole life, and like, I mean, like having fun with like mates and stuff. It was great, but ultimately like not very. We weren't very good or organised, or didn't like practice very much. And then when I went to music college, and I saw your band play Midfield with George and Trude and
that version, yeah,
Tim. Yeah. That was genuinely one of the first times where, like, I saw a band play that was insanely, like, tight, and was like writing songs that were actually good and like performed with energy and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this is like the new, like, standard. And I remember like learning from you guys to like put in way more effort into what I was actually doing.
Well, I did not expect you to say that, honestly. I did not pay you to say that, but that is very kind of you. And you know what? I would like to dig out some of those recordings and some of yours as well from the Blue Room, because we did have a lot more energy back then, didn't we?
Yeah, probably.
Well, we've got the same amount of energy now, but I think we just had a bit more time then. But it was, sorry, carry on, dude.
No, I think I probably never told George as well, or maybe I have, but like I remember like George Reed, who was the like keys player and stuff in Midfield. After seeing him press all of his buttons and stuff and doing his crazy arpeggios and all that kind of stuff,
he was definitely the brains.
Seeing him like go on to be a producer again, that he also like influenced me starting my production as well, because he was the only person that I knew that had gone on to like be a like serious producer, and
route rather than the guitar part.
Yeah, and that was super interesting, and I feel like in college specifically, I learned to like to love pop music more, and I like left the whole prog rock, heavy metal era. And then discovered bands like, I remember we always used to listen to like Incubus.
Oh yeah, mate.
Which was still kind of heavy, I guess. But and then like
more melodic, I suppose.
Yeah, like John Mayer and maybe like Coldplay. And
who's John Mayer, mate? Who's that?
He was great. I feel like even bands like Coldplay, I just learned that like that destroyed my opinion of Complex is.
I remember you used to have a picture of Chris Martin. You used to have like the pictures of I think it was the three like main like cultural influences, and he was definitely, was he one of them? He was, wasn't he? I'm going back quite a few years, of course.
Yeah, that was me trying to show how deep I was.
Can I just say about you at college as well? You were just like the most insane like shredder guitarist. Like everything you've said, like just looks so different to how you look now. Of course, like it's quite a few years ago, but you were just like, I don't know, you're kind of nerdy, but like you weren't as like, I mean, we've all changed. Take this as like a funny thing, but you weren't as sociable as you are now. You were just sort of like the sick, like I'm going to say it, bedroom guitarist nerd, but you were so sick. Like,
thank you.
I can't do the stuff that you did then now, probably.
But I did it badly was the thing. Like I feel like I always wanted to like write songs. I just didn't know that it's actually harder to write a good, simple song than it is maybe to practice how to do a solo sometimes. And that was just me. Like some people might find that to be the opposite, but like I was so interested in how like a 2.5 minute pop song could make me feel like more emotions than a 2.5 minute solo in a 7-minute song, which I love and appreciate. Like all these amazing guitar players, even like John Mayer whacks out an amazing solo. And I couldn't, I never quite knew enough about songwriting to like to have the confidence to leave what I used as my like biggest selling point was like, if I just get really sick at lead guitar, then everything else will be okay. But what I really wanted to do was write songs at that point, and I saw loads of value in that whole like writing process. And I just remember after college when we did went to play with like Steve Appleton, and like learning about like band sessions. I think you had a lot more experience than me at that point of like being in a band, but like just going on a tour around the UK, and like, I'm sure like it's the same for you, but I learned a lot about like practicing and performing, and then sadly the politics of getting paid like 60 quid a gig or whatever it was, and then
I think it was 50 at one point, wasn't it? I think it was.
Was it
50 for a rehearsal, right. Maybe 60 for a
gig. Yeah, that was the right. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, and then God, I just I think after that era, I was in like a couple of bands as well. Yeah, like after that whole thing.
Yeah.
And again, like you're related to this too. I remember I was in like a 5-piece band after working with Steve, and then
this like, was the Blue Room.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right. Yeah, we did a few like released an EP or something a long time ago, and like I just remember having to organise everyone for practices, and then I was writing all the songs myself, and then phoning around venues in London to get gigs and stuff, and it became like too much work for me because everyone else was busy with their girlfriends. And, you know how it is, and it's just like it was quite difficult to get everyone organised because I was obsessing over it maybe a bit more than they were, and so like it just sort of fizzled out. And then I started like a 3-piece little band for a while with Ben and Ollie, like playing acoustics and in pubs and stuff. But then same issue, and then I went down to a duo with Ben, and like played acoustic gigs. But then I remember Ben, again, me and Ben moved in together to focus on like writing songs.
Yes, you did.
We lived in the same house together for a while. But the funny thing was, sorry Ben, if you listen to this, is that he spent like 5 nights a week at his girlfriend's house, now wife's house. So I come back from work and just like record stuff all night, and he'd be like, "I'm going out now," and I'm like, "This is why we're living here, to do music and stuff." But it's fine. He's happy, and like it's all good. But like
it's all worked out. But yeah, not the point at the time.
Well, then so I thought after that, like, okay, I'm on my own now. I'm not a singer, but I can write songs. So I thought, like, how hard can it be to record like a vocal and a guitar, basically? And so I think it was like sometime around maybe 2016 or something, I bought like a laptop, Logic, and I bought like an SE Electronics mic bundle.
Mate, was it that?
Like
I mean, it's in the nicest possible way, but was it that late into it that you got into Logic? Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah. So I think it might have been 2015 or 16.
Yeah.
But it was a couple of years of where I'd already sort of given up on music. And I thought, well, I can still try, and maybe, like, how naive I was, I can probably get a publishing deal. In
between Ben, like, so living with Ben, sorry, Ben, again, you are a lovely guy. So in between the Ben era and getting this laptop, there was a period where you'd just given up on music.
Yeah, so I think we did, like, we stopped playing together, and he moved out in like 2014 or something. And then 2014 to 2015, I might have done like a couple of open mic nights to try and keep the dream alive.
Can I tell you something that I've just remembered?
Yeah.
I did some duo gigs with you for a very brief period, and do you know what? You were living with Ben at that time. So Ben must have, because I remember once he came back, so that must have been in that period. You must have been like trying to do other.
You just sparked my memory there of where I remember you and me played a gig in a pub in
Twickenham.
In Twickenham.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember Ben came to that gig
with his girlfriend.
Having not been with his girlfriend. Yeah. after having not done any music with me for like 4 months or something.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end of the gig, he was like saying like, oh yeah, you know, like in a really lovingly joking way, he was like, what are you messing around with this for, Rob? Come on, let's go and do some more gigs together. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, Adam works a lot harder than you do, mate. You know, he, that is completely right. And I was going through some photographs I was going to make like a post on TikTok of like career from start to finish in like slides. And I found a picture where it was just of me, but I was in a room with 2 pianos, and I think it was your parents' living room.
I think so, yeah.
And that reminded me of that era.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
But I just remember trying to, after that period was over, just like feeling a bit deflated and thinking like maybe I could try and get a publishing deal, like, and try and just write songs and pitch them out, not knowing how, you know, difficult that is, obviously. And so I thought, if I can just record my voice and a piano or a guitar, then that's all I need. And I think I've still got these pieces somewhere, but it was from like GAC or some online store where they were doing that bundle. Their what was it again? SE Electronics, like they did like a mic. Yeah, they had a mic and they did like a reflection filter.
Yeah, it's like a combo.
A mic stand and like a cable and a pop shield or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like 150 quid or something. And I was like, bargain, I'll grab that. And then the laptop like rinsed my savings at that point, I remember, and then Logic. And I just remember like just thinking to myself, okay, I've recorded a song, maybe I'll put like a little bass in it, and maybe I'll put like a little pad or an organ in it, or maybe I'll put a kick drum in it. And then before I knew it, I was more interested in the production side of it than the songwriting side of it.
Amazing.
And then I just like started to obsess over like I'd be thinking all day about like, why does that bass sound so good in like a tiny speaker and a massive speaker? How do they do that? And then like, with no intention to like make it a career or anything, I just be at home on YouTube after work, like searching sub bass, how to make it sound big in small like all this stuff. And then just like, before I knew it, like it was a year later and I was just like making loads of weird music production stuff. Yeah.
These things happen when you actually have the love for it and you're not chasing money or you're chasing some sort of lifestyle, like you say, you know. Maybe sometimes when we try so hard to get something and it doesn't happen. Well, we were talking about this before I hit record, but when we try so hard to get something, and then when we stop and we don't try as much, or you know, it happens naturally and organically, normally you see results.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to say because when I've done loads of like one-to-one like mentoring stuff when I was a couple of years ago, and people would always come to me and say like, oh, I really want to get into music because I want to make some money. And I was just like, I always just thought, be a banker.
Go do something else, mate.
Go work in finance because it's like, you're never going to last the like, whatever they say, 10,000 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're just not doing it for the sake of loving it. And it's like, people would always ask me, what's like this, is there like a secret, a producer hack, a life hack to like doing something in music? And my response would always be, well, no. Like, I always use like gym analogies because they always like are quite good to real life. I'd say that's like going up to like joining the gym and on the first day walking in, looking for the biggest guy in the gym and then walking up to him and saying, hey mate, what's the secret to getting big?
Yeah.
And he would say, I've worked out for 2 hours a day for 20 years. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And I would see in their face, like when I said that kind of answer, if they were like deflated, then I sort of knew they weren't going to do anything in music. But if the thought of the hard work aspect like inspired someone, I'd be like, they know it, like that they know what they're in for. And then like a year later, I look back at their Instagram and they're like doing shit.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's
like,
wonderful, man. It's a happy ending, but I'm always talking to my students about exactly the same thing, you know. And in the last podcast episode, I had one of my students, Alex, on, who is an absolute inspiration. He practices very, very hard every single day, and he has done since he's had lessons with me. He's had a couple of holidays here and there, and he is one of my top students in terms of how much he has progressed in that time. And there's no coincidence there. It's because he practices often, and he's not he doesn't give in. If he's not having a great day, he still does it. So
yeah,
it's really
what was his name? Alex?
Alex, yeah, his name's Alex. And
well done, Alex. If you're listening, that is like
yeah, he's so focused.
That is an amazing thing to do. And
yeah, people
look at music and think, oh, I can just sort of like, you know, my mum said I was really good at guitar, so I'm brilliant, and then have that stuck in their head forever and not feel the need to like really practice much. And then it's like, it's hard. It is really difficult. And I always see people posting on like threads saying things like, how do you handle like having a job and then doing music and then transitioning over to doing music full time? And like, I would try and think of like an inspirational thing to answer. And looking back at that period of my life from like 2020 to 2021, the advice that I had was like, I was mental.
2020 to 2021, just to let everyone know, that's when you became Rob Late Audio. That's when your videos started kicking off on Instagram and TikTok, I assume, as well. And then that's when you started building your entire business off of the back of that, so and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and I just remember like going to work and coming back, finishing at 5 p.m, getting home at 6, and then just trying to make as much music as I could until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then getting up at 7 again or 8, and then just being knackered all day and doing the same thing every single day. And I remember, because I hated my job, this sounds really drastic, but I thought like, yeah, this is hard and I'm knackered, and there's like all these new phrases now, like with like burnout and grind culture, all these things, and they put like quite a negative slant on those things. Obviously you don't want to work yourself to a point of like mental exhaustion where you literally break down, but I do feel like I feel like an old man talking to the youth now. But it's like a certain amount of self-destruction sometimes is required, but it isn't self-destruction, because you aren't working down a coal mine, you're working on music, and it's like, it's brilliant and it's fun. Yeah. But like, there was a point where I would go to like all these networking events. I think I went to like more than 20 of them around London before I even met one person that was nice enough to let me like shadow them or like see how they operate in a session. And I just feel like, would someone be that stupid now? Yeah. Like, would they go to like 5 and think, well, this is useless? Or like the amount of songs I sent out to people that where they either didn't reply or reply back saying, this is terrible. You might like, do you know what I mean?
You might have to go to 10 of those now. You know, it might be even harder, but you may have to go to 10, and someone will go to 10, like you say, and then they'll get noticed on. They'll pick up a contact on the 10th networking event. But dude, I know what you're saying, and there is quite a lot of negativity around burnout, and it's hard, isn't it? Because things have changed, and we are looking in 2025 to look after ourselves more. I certainly do, but you're also, there's a line, isn't there? And you're also not going to get anywhere if you don't. I mean, as I say, and as I've said before, I'm just like incredibly privileged when I started teaching that my parents converted their 3/4 of their garage into a studio so I could do it. I mean, that is privilege on a plate right there. It really is. But, you know, I would still wake up at 5 in the morning, and I'd go and start work at Starbucks at 6, and I'd finish at 6 in the morning. I'd arrive there. It would open at 6:30. I'd finish at 2:30. I'd get out there about 3. I'd come home. I'd shower. I'd be absolutely shattered. And then as I was building my teaching business, I would then teach 4 till 8:30. And I would do that Monday to Thursday. And I'm not saying, oh, wow, bloody hell, God, what a hard worker. But if you're going around telling people not to burn out, I mean, I was burnt out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't forever.
No, I feel like there was some like quote from Jeff Bezos or something saying, I wish I could remember this properly. It was like, stress doesn't come from hard work. Stress comes from not acting on things that you can act on today.
Yeah.
And like pushing things into the long grass and letting tasks get on top of you. And if you're not organized enough, and if you aren't executing things like efficiently, which is really hard to do, because when things start piling up, it gets really stressful. And then that's when things become too heavy and you burn out. Because I've burnt out several times, like over the past few years.
Have you? Yeah.
And when I look back, it was because I let things just get too much. Like I put off replying to that email, or I had all these tasks to do, things I knew I could do, but I delayed them, and then they build up again, and like all these things. And when they're building up in your mind, it's like that to me was the most stressful thing. And doing the music and doing the work and making the videos, I was doing them for hours and hours and hours until like, early in the morning, and making them all the time. But it was long hours, and I had a pain in the neck from sitting in my chair for so long. Yeah. But it wasn't.
You've got the posture of me, probably.
yeah. But it wasn't that in itself. The hard work in terms of making music and networking and stuff, that wasn't stressful, and that isn't what was burning me out. I feel like that the whole burnout thing comes from, not being as organized as you should be, and letting things weigh you down. And like, everyone's different, and like you were saying, people have told me before, like I'm just lucky. Like I'm lucky that a video went viral, or I'm lucky that this happened. And I say, like, if you were born in the Western world, not into poverty and not into a war zone, then you're already luckier than like 60% of the world.
Absolutely, mate.
Like you can say, oh, he might be luckier because his parents are rich, or he might be luckier because, like you and me, we had parents that were supportive musically. And that is obviously lucky as well. But the main point is, if you have enough time to scroll social media or to have a phone, then you are also in the top like percentile of people that are lucky in the world. And so you shouldn't really use like luck as an excuse to not burn yourself out.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I completely get it. So I have already done a little introduction to this podcast, but if we're coming, so we've just done 2020 to 2021, we're going to call it the COVID period where Rob Late became Rob Late Audio. Moving on from there, so I know you've had a couple of different studios. You're very settled now in your actual owned studio, which of course looks beautiful, but what does day-to-day life look like? Because you and I are due a catch-up, and after this we're going to put something in the diary 100%, but what is day-to-day life looking like?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say that I'm not doing this podcast for any other reason apart from an excuse to try and catch up with you, which has been like so difficult over the past couple of years. So yeah, this is
all we had to do was do a podcast, record it so everyone else can hear. Is that how bad I am? No.
Nah, it's all good, man. I think I've forgotten your question already. What was it? Day to day.
I just want to know what you're doing every day.
Yeah, so day to day, I'm spinning a few plates, because I started an online store in like 2021 because I was like desperate to try and pay rent from music and try and find all these different ways to like support myself financially until I could get like a break or get some good work coming in. And so I started an online store when I had a couple of videos doing like kind of well. Because I thought organic traffic going to the link in your bio, like I'll try and sell some things organically. I had a few questions. People asked, like, do you sell a drum pack? And I was like, no.
I will.
How do I figure that out? Yes, I just figured out how to build like a Shopify store, and how to make a sample pack and everything. And then that grew like exponentially, accidentally, sort of, into, I guess, along with the social media following, it just went hand in hand. And then that now, I employ 3 people through that company, basically, like someone
absolutely amazing.
is like there's someone that does admin, all the emails and the business stuff, and someone that does all the graphic design and the ads and all the techie stuff that I'm too dumb to understand. And then I've got like a co-producer who's sort of like, I'll put everything together, all the sound, all the packs and stuff, and then but the lengthy thing is to like export them and name them and just quality control and all that stuff. So I'll just pass them through to him, and he'll just like do stuff on that end. And so like
brilliant. That really is brilliant.
Yeah, it's been cool, and I made a music production course, but like I never wanted to make a course. So I thought like who would care about what I'm doing? Like I still didn't have the confidence to do it, and I thought at some point when I have a break, then I'll have an excuse to make a course as to how I got that break at least. And that's when I got like one of my videos was going viral, and then Drew from the Chainsmokers messaged me, and he normally when somebody would message me, so I was getting like some celebrities following me, and my instinct whenever that happened was I would like introduce myself and just say, hey, good to connect, here's all my sample packs, and if you want to use any of them, then like
brilliant.
go nuts.
And
but this time Drew responded by saying, I was just talking to Alex about you. Alex is the other guy in the Chainsmokers, and he was like, we're having a few writer friends out to Aspen to work on our next album. Do you want to come? And I was like, no, thanks, mate. I'm busy. And I'm like, no, obviously not.
When? No, no, of course not. Of course I'm not.
I'm too. Yeah, exactly. And then finally, when they like flew me out and paid for my hotels and everything.
Gosh.
And then I ended up like this sounds crazy and braggy, but this is what happened. Like,
no, tell me, tell us exactly.
They were working out of they just know everyone, and they'd borrowed a house off a billionaire in Aspen who obviously wasn't at his house for like 90% of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was this like ridiculous like $40 million house in Aspen in the hills. And so I just like day one just walk up to this building, these like huge doors just like open, and there's just crazy mansion, and like in this room there's Drew and Alex from the Chainsmokers, the engineer Jordan, who I was a fan of, Ian Kirkpatrick, the producer, who I'm a massive fan of, who's like done everything for like Dua Lipa and Julia Michaels and stuff.
Oh wow!
And a bunch of like their what was her name, Emily Warren as well, like an amazing songwriter.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the hell am I doing here? Like,
really?
Last week I was sitting in my boxer shorts in my studio that's got mold in the corner, hearing ambulances drive by, like ruining all my takes, just trying to eat healthy and not buy McDonald's again. And then suddenly I'm just in this place now. And I was really, obviously really nervous. And before the first session started, I was talking to Ian Kirkpatrick about, I was like, I'm a bit nervous. Like I was just confiding in him because he was quite a personable guy. And he just said the most amazing thing to me. And he said, you're already here. So you've done the hard work. Now it's just about being yourself and doing what you do that caught everyone's attention.
Yeah,
and that just like, that was really useful to me to hear.
Absolutely. It's like starting your first day of school, but everyone else has already been at school for the past 10 years. It's I can imagine it is just a lot of like mixed emotions, and I think scary, but
it was weird.
Scary is good, etc., etc. You know, you putting yourself out of your comfort zone. It makes me feel a little bit nervous just thinking about it, to be honest, mate. But
it was really intimidating. And
you obviously got a couple of songs out of that session.
Yes, I produced 4 songs for them now.
And was that all in Aspen at that period?
No, so what's funny is like I was quite nervous about performing on the spot in a room full of like, you know, they have like a collective net worth of like, you know, more dollars than I have cells in my body probably. And they so I would always bring like countless like loops and ideas and song starters like with me, so I can like show people an idea. Because one thing I did learn in doing smaller sessions like in London was that if you bring a full song to a session, it's kind of pointless because if you're working with a co-producer and you've already produced it, then they got nothing to add to it. The songwriter or the artist in the room might not like the drums, and if you finish it fully, you've signed and sealed and delivered it, and there's nothing to add to it. And it takes a while to finish a full song. So if I was going to bring 10 songs to a session, it would take a while to make them.
Yeah.
So I just started making 8-bar loops of nice chords and nice rhythms and just things that you can
feels
make.
Overall feels and vibes of a song without giving away.
Exactly, yeah. So and that way, I could make 10 times more of those in the time it takes to make one full song. And then what I could do is, I thought at the beginning, is this lazy or genius? Because I was doing it as a way to hurry up the process a bit. And, so I would have a folder on my desktop with 100 of these song starter loops in them. And then I would scroll through them with the writers in the room in Aspim. And I was number 4 down. And Emily Warren was oh, that's really cool. I want to write a song over that. And so I would then just bring it into Ableton and just replicate it and loop it to make it a length of a song.
Yeah.
And then put it on loop. And then whilst they're writing a song over this thing, I can then sit back, no pressure, and sort of just talk in the room and contribute to the writing, and knowing full well, this sounds cheeky, but if this becomes a full song, I've already got my writing and production credits because I wrote the chords and I produced the chords. And then later I would then, when the song was more formed, I could then add more production to it, if that makes sense. I think
that must have been such a relief and such a weight off of your shoulders. You're flicking through this folder on your laptop, you come to number 4 and she's like, that's the one. And then get into Ableton and loop it round before anybody changes their mind, and then they start working on it, and I would just sigh relief and go, okay.
I did it out of insecurity of am I good enough to do something from scratch, basically. And the funny thing is that those loops didn't actually develop into anything in that session. But what did happen was, on day number 4 or something, we were in the kitchen and somebody was playing a songwriter called Nick Long, who is an amazing guy. He does Machine Gun Kelly and Blink-182 and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
right.
He was just playing this guitar riff in the kitchen whilst we were eating. And then Drew started just humming something along to this guitar riff. And then an hour later, it became a little verse. And then Drew said it was recorded on an iPhone. The guitar was on an iPhone, and the vocal was on another iPhone, just to record the idea because it was coming up out of nowhere. And excuse me. And then Drew said, "Rob, take these iPhone recordings to the studio downstairs and just see what you can do." And so I just did that. And so I built them into I built a verse and a little pre-chorus, and then the first drop chorus, and that's a song that came out called "See You Again."
Wow!
Which is featuring Illenium as well.
Incredible.
And but the ironic thing was, I was most nervous about producing on the spot, but the actual song that came out of that one session was the one that was produced on the spot. So
Amazing.
I was I'd made this thing on my own downstairs, and then after I'd made the chorus, then suddenly everyone piled into the room, and I was like, oh shit. And so I just pressed play, and I've got a video that I will cherish forever, which is they had a videographer there as well, using a camera and an iPhone.
Right.
And he filmed the first listen of the idea that I'd made, and I've got on camera Alex and Drew going, wow, this is sick. And I was like, phew.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what happened was afterwards, I then went home again and finished producing bits. And then they sent everything to Illenium, the producer DJ, and he added some bits as well. And then that's the first song that came out a year and a half ago or something. And then since then, what's really funny is the other 3 songs that I made for them, they all happened in 2 weeks, which is quite crazy, and remotely as well.
Really? So
I sent
from your studio.
I'd sent Drew the folder of loops that I was talking about. And the funny thing was, he picked a loop that I'd made in 2020. that just happened to be in this folder. It was this weird like synth loop.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I've written a song over one of your loops," and I was just so curious to see which one it was, and it was that one, and I was like, "What? Okay." And he sent me the demo of it, and it was the song that ended up being the song Friday, which has come out.
Yeah, wow. Man.
It's Friday featuring Friday, which is a really confusing title because the artist on it also is called Friday.
Okay,
with two Y's.
Okay, on purpose, I guess.
Yeah, because it was their second attempt at one of their big hits was called Roses,
right?
And it was featuring a singer called Roses. So it was, and it had.
So when's Rob Late featuring Rob Late coming out then?
Tomorrow, it's done. It's being mastered right now. And then that, like, if you listen to that song Friday, the first, I don't know, 6-7 seconds, you'll hear this like synth chop, like loop that ends up like repeating throughout the whole song.
And that's
everything else was added on top of
loop.
that. And then he sent me back the demo he'd made, and I added stuff to it, and sent him back all my stems, and they completed the song. And the other songs were done in the same way. So it's like that was really helpful. And then going back to your question, when I had the first cut from the Chainsmokers, or even when I just worked with them and had loads of pictures and footage, that's when I felt legitimate enough to make a course, because I was like, okay, so it isn't just a course on how to build some followers. It's a course on how to work with a major artist. So I felt.
And it's good you hadn't started that earlier, otherwise you wouldn't be able to add that part in. You'd always have to do a separate course for that. But now it's all part of this one huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then that also led to I just got a random email one day like last year, and it was Marshmello's management, just out of the blue, like out of nowhere, and they were like, "Do you?" But
it's not at this point, is it? Because your name must be circulating within certain groups of people, right?
Well, I actually asked him like how he found out about me, and it was someone else told him about me who knew Drew, one of Drew's friends, like not a musical person, just like a friend.
Oh, blind.
And so he checked out my stuff, and he checked out the songs that I would worked on with them. And when I got that email, I was like, I didn't recognize the email or anything, because it was like from a random like company. And so then I Googled the company, and it was the management company for Marshmello.
How exciting.
And then when I said yes, definitely, to the email, then like 3 days later, the Marshmello Instagram account then followed me. He's got like 30 million followers. So I was like, okay, this is actually it. This is a thing.
Who they say they are. Yeah.
So I went to Los Angeles and worked with him for a week, and a bunch of other people that were there. And then I worked with him again in London earlier this year. And when I was in London, I met, in the same studio sessions, I met Bastille, who was like working with us as well.
Yep.
Dan. And a crazier moment for me was just randomly, we were just working on some songs, and then in the room comes Rob Swire and Gareth from, remember Pendulum?
I do indeed remember Pendulum, yes.
And it was Rob's production that when I first heard their songs, that was the first time I thought, how does a person make this stuff? And I was obsessed with them, and I was just like, they just walked in this room, how crazy is this? And then my biggest regret was Matt Bellamy from Muse came in as well.
Hey, stop it.
All these people, because obviously Marshmello knows these people, and he was like, who do I get from England into these sessions whilst I'm here?
Yeah,
so they're all these British people.
Yeah.
And then my biggest regret was I left the studio one day at like 11 p.m. because I'd been there since like 9 a.m. and I was knackered. And I just left and was going to come back the next day. And at like 1 in the morning, because they stayed there all night, at 1 in the morning when I'd left, Ellie Goulding came in, and they made a song that was released. And I was like, if I'd have just stayed in the studio that night, maybe I could have been involved as well. But
how would you know that someone was going to turn up at 1 a.m.? I suppose it is the music industry, but
yeah, and also they had the people that were involved with that song. My friend Nick, who is his alias is like Digital Farm Animals.
Oh right,
he's like a big producer and songwriter.
Wow, yeah.
And these other guys too that have like written all Lewis Capaldi's songs. That they were in that group, so I feel like that session might have been a closed group just because of Ellie Goulding coming in. So I might not have even got involved anyway. So
well, you'll never know, I suppose. We went to college together, of course. Now, it was a very different time back then, and I think for people who possibly don't know how old we are, it may have been 2005, 2006.
Yeah, like 20 years ago.
Yes.
Crikey.
Indeed.
Decades.
Now, of course, like a lot has changed within the music industry within that period. A lot has changed within the music industry since 2020, for example. But do you think that now, where you are as a professional musician, is there anything that they didn't teach us at college which you wished that they would have taught us that would have helped you personally? Or is everything so different now that no matter what they would have said, it would have been irrelevant?
Yeah, I guess it's probably a boring answer to like any like young musicians listening, that maybe this wasn't as relevant back then, like you were saying. But I kind of learned now that like when it comes to being a successful producer or musician or whatever, or maybe in any job, like it hasn't got to be in music related, but like it's quite often, I'm making these figures up, but this seems to be like the right thing to say, is like,
yeah,
it comes down to like about maybe 30% talent and then like 70% social skills.
Really?
And just like marketing and networking, like, like bigger artists that have invited me out to sessions, like they could have hired anyone and were way more talented than I am and experienced than I am, like we were saying before. But they've seen my personality online on social media. And like it comes down to like, can you exist in an enclosed space with like people for a week and have a good time and have fun and maybe be a fun person, and like do you have the confidence to, like we were just saying, to cold DM someone or hunt down like a connection of a connection of a connection and get into a session and like push your luck a bit and then hold down a session like as a producer when you've got writers all around you in the room. It's like a stressful thing. And so maybe maybe this isn't relevant, but if we had teachers that could help us sort of like book gigs and teach us how to market ourselves, and like I kind of wish like if there was a class in that college, it sounds really like wishy-washy, but like a class on resilience or something. Like I feel like seeing how the music industry is quite ruthless, and I just feel like, can you imagine if there was a class where for one of our bands, if we just had like a terrible gig and no one turned up, or like, and we were like thinking of quitting music forever, or if someone would just say like, I think we've spoken about this before today, like failing is literally like part of the job. You don't really know your weaknesses unless you screw up, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, why did no one turn up to your gig? Like, why did nobody engage with that social media post? Or like, why weren't any labels interested in the single that you emailed out to everyone? Like, keep persevering and learn from it. And that'd have been useful. But then again, Brooklyn's was a free course, and most of the teachers probably didn't know that stuff themselves. So it's,
possibly not. But in an ideal world, this is what I'm saying. And like for now, for music education, I suppose it's the same. I'm asking you the same question. Like, what would you like to see in a course now? And it's real world music, isn't it? It's not just how to play music, how to read music, how to play in a band. It's how to be a musician in general, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's so much more to it than just like growing up. I knew dozens of incredible musicians. Like we weren't short of good musicians, but only a small number of them today are still doing music. And whether or not you like to admit it, it's because some people were like just wanted to get into the business side and know how to market themselves, or know how to make a business out of it, and we're more resilient. Like even in the early days, the early days of music production for me, it was like endless failure and every day thinking, man, I suck at this. That song sounds so bad. Like, what was I thinking? And then like the next day you might make something really good and you think, yeah, I'm so good at this. I'm going to be the best producer ever. And then the next day, again, you make something terrible and you're like, God, why was I so arrogant yesterday? I'm so bad at this. And then it's like a roller coaster of just...
God, mate, you must... That's exhausting, isn't it? So when people ask you, I don't know how often you have this general conversation, but when people ask you, what do you do? Which is that question that most people don't have an issue with answering, but I sense you and I have probably had the same, hopefully not, but the same insecure struggles with that over the years. Do you have an easy answer? Do you say I'm a producer, or do you say I'm an educator, or do you just say I'm a musician?
I would just say I'm a producer, and most people don't. I think most people over a certain age don't really know what that means, because it's like I guess like back in the day, a producer's job was basically what we call an engineer now. Yeah, it was just like they set up the live room for a band to do the recording, and then they mix it, and it was like whereas now a producer is responsible for basically making the song. It's like it's way more like all the sound design, and like with like pop music a lot, and a lot of like electronic music, like you don't hire a drummer, the producer makes the drums. And so like it's a much more responsible thing on our half now to like actually be more involved. And so people of a certain age, all my neighbours around here, because everyone's retired around here, they all like they don't know what a producer
Well, I bet they
does.
loved you moving into that street.
What was funny is I had to get a planning permission to build this studio because it's in a conservation area. And so I had to prove to the council that to convert a garage into a non-use for a car, I had a parking space per bedroom of the house.
Oh yeah, I know.
And all that mess.
Yeah.
And so I had to say on the application, like, soundproof office space, just so that when the application went to all the neighbours before
they have to sign it off.
They wouldn't think that there was a noisy producer moving in. So I just said office.
Fucking like insomniac producer room.
Like heavy bass, heavy metal, club banger.
People
maker.
coming in and out all the time, probably smokers.
I had to be a bit low key with that, but luckily everyone is like musically inclined around here randomly. It's so random.
Nice. Well, good is all I can say.
That was helpful.
Whilst we're on the subject of college as well, mate, this has been a trip down memory lane so far today, but I'm testing my memory, and I'm sure things will come back into my mind tonight, or at least later when this is over. This is when things come back into my mind. But for you personally, do you have any memories of college? Anything that makes you laugh or worse, cringe? Is there anything that you, and you can try not to mention me, but you can is there anything, or if you were to go back to college and do it all again, would you do anything differently?
Oh man,
there's a couple of questions in there at once.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I'm sure that there was loads more than I remember, and I'm sure that if we got someone like Ollie involved, he would have a million stories. He
knows everything. He remembers everything, I'm sure.
For some reason, I just remembered. Do you remember we had like singing lessons with
Megan?
Was it Megan? Yeah, the singing teacher.
Yeah, I got distinctions every time, by the way.
Well, there you go. And I remember like.
Did you, Rob?
What did I get? I think I just got merits. I think
a merit, mate.
Grades.
As if
I got like a distinction from I did the guitar grades.
You
and
did
stuff like there
was
the rock school thing.
Yeah. We teach rock school still now.
I think I just fell apart because like the any sort of studying or writing or essay side of things I just couldn't handle. I couldn't figure it out. But I do remember with was it Megan? There was like, I remember thinking it was so odd because there was it was a singing class, right? but it wasn't just for singers; it was for everyone to participate in.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Yeah, anyone with a voice. Yeah, that's fine.
It was like a mandatory thing for everyone to at least try, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember like we had to do a singing performance like, in front of everyone, in front of the class.
Yeah,
and choose a song or whatever it was to sing. And I remember like, well, there were some really shy people in that college.
Yeah, it's
so, like, it was like, so it's like a difficult thing to do, to sing. And I remember, God, I forget what this guy's name was, but like, it was some kid who had to like sit there and sing through like a Blink-182 song or something whilst playing the guitar. And this kid had like no interest or like, you know, talent, admittedly by himself, in singing. Like he wasn't a singer.
No.
He had no interest in singing.
Yeah.
And like he was just sitting there like sweating and just shaking.
Man.
And like, yeah, like couldn't sing in tune. And it was like 3 minutes of torture. And it was the most agonizing awkwardness. And it so shouldn't have been mandatory because that probably put him off performance for like a long time, if not forever.
We were such an odd bunch. I mean, like we just finished school, and you know, people that choose to take music for 2 years after school, you may not be. Well, we were all odd, weren't we?
Yeah, it was a bit of a wacky bunch.
We were a wacky bunch, and we were all a little bit odd. And then, you know, just to get told that you have to express yourself by singing.
You know,
I remember how small that room was as well, and having to sing in front of everyone. Like you had to do it.
Do you know what the funniest thing was? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on. I'm done. Yeah,
it was. I remember like for that assignment, we weren't graded on like effort. We were graded on singing ability, and so this kid got like a fail.
That's so unfair.
And I was like, well, of course. Like,
God.
Surely, if you're not a singer, it should be down to effort and not down to like. But then, if you get a certain grade, like, what use is it to you if you want to be a session guitarist and you, or maybe as a singer as well? But like,
yeah.
He had no. I also remember.
I need a name. I don't remember the name.
God, it was
give me a code name or something.
I remember he had quite an interesting, like, I'm sure it was like an interesting Jewish surname. It was something, not like Wazowski or something like.
Something.
I think he was just one of those kids that just disappeared into the woodwork. Like he wasn't. We didn't really hang out with him, I don't think. But he was. I remember being like a really sweet guy and just being like a nice guy.
Was he quite short?
I think he was quite kind of stocky.
Oh.
Maybe like Chris or something. And he was just, I just remember it being really painful for him.
Chris, if you're listening, keep up the singing. Keep going, man. I'll give you a distinction.
Yeah, keep going. Don't let Megan fail you from your singing lessons.
Oh, man.
And, there was also a time, remember we had like free guitar lessons?
Did we?
They gave us like guitar lessons.
In the small room downstairs.
Yeah, some guy came in, and I remember. This is so bad,
Nick?
but
no,
I think it cost it cost the college money.
Right.
They hired this guy, but it was free for us, which is amazing. But like, I think because it was free, and because I didn't really want them, but I did them because I thought it was probably a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't take them seriously, and I remember like, do you remember Dr. D, who was like the head of the whole thing?
Absolutely, man. Dr. D.
He just like, we were all socializing in the college somewhere in the music department, and he said, Rob, you had a guitar lesson started like 2 minutes ago. Like, go downstairs. And I was like, oh, okay, right. Yeah. And then got like distracted or something. And like 5 minutes later, I was downstairs like chatting to somebody else in the hallway. And he walked past again and was like, Rob, you've got a guitar lesson. Like, what are you doing? Go. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. How much of a moron I was. And then I somehow ended up upstairs again. And it had been like 20 minutes. And he came upstairs, and in front of everyone, I just remember this because it was traumatic. He just said, Rob, get the F downstairs. And everyone was like, oh my God, Dr. D just swore. And I was just like, obviously I was an idiot because it was costing the college money.
I know, but you're so innocent as well. That is like, I of course know you. That is just you. You don't mean anything by it. You were just sort of.
Yeah, I think I just got distracted and just didn't.
You definitely got distracted easily.
How an expense to a free college is a big deal. I didn't really realise.
Well, we wouldn't even think about it, would we? We were not expected to think about those things back then. So
yeah, exactly.
Don't beat yourself up.
I felt bad about that.
Is this your apology? Is this like you just sort of like confessing your sins? Is this really why you're here?
Yeah, I'm just here for a free therapy session to get all these like old past traumas out that I hadn't dealt with head on.
That music block's gone now, by the way.
Yeah, I heard it was all demolished completely. Is it gone?
My sister-in-law did a bit of teaching there this year or last year, and she said it's basically just like
car park.
It's probably not that interesting for a podcast, but music is gone. So yeah, I don't know what people would do now. One of my other students started doing music. He did 2 A-levels. He started music A-level and music production. No, music tech, they call it, A-level. Both of those at Strode's College, which was the other one. And lasted 2 weeks and was just like, it's just... And basically, some people... We went to Brooklands and Weybridge, of course, and then other people went to the other one to do the actual A-levels. And ours was like way more like informal, wasn't it? And sort of like the whole music thing. And that's gone now. So you basically have a choice of A-levels or nothing.
Yeah, I did feel like that course was a little bit disjointed though. Like it was, I think it was brilliantly, like they were so committed and they were like, the teachers were cool. And I mean, we were little buggers, especially me and Ollie coming from Bishop Wand and previously Ollie especially being a little hellraiser. Yeah. And I'm sure that we weren't easy to like we wanted to like muck around a lot.
Yeah,
and so,
you were both rebels. Ollie probably still is, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's if I ever look back and think, oh, the teachers were nasty or something, I almost certainly know if they ever were, it was because I was being an idiot. Basically.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah. Actually, I'd just say definitely. I'd say definitely. I'm going to move forward into a couple of other questions that are probably a little bit disjointed from where we were, but ones that I really, really want to know your answer from. Okay, I'm going to go straight in with what's one misconception that people have about you, what you do, about what you do. So you meet someone, you meet your neighbour, Ted next door. Oh, nice to meet you, Robert. Welcome to the neighborhood. And you're like, yeah, sweet. And he's like, what do you do? And you say, I'm a musician and I teach people how to play music. And then he says...
So I think that like, what do you mean generally like a misconception that anybody has about what I do for a job?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Is there? Or do people get it? You sort of said earlier that people don't really get what a producer thing is now, but I was about to like give some like, generic thing about they just think, oh, you're a producer, you just go and fly all over the world and produce with people. But that's exactly what you do. And that's exactly what you've been explaining. So how could they get it wrong?
I think like, especially with like electronic music, which I guess is the sort of like umbrella term for most of what I do. It's like the majority of let's just say like hate that I would get online, and there isn't much, but like it's if there ever is some, it's usually like in the form of like very invested musicians,
right,
that have worked very hard to be a very good musician, and think that what I'm doing was I just got lucky pressing buttons, and think that like EDM isn't music unless there's musicians playing. And
really, so like, this is coming from actual musicians as well.
Yeah, you get a lot of people. I mean, it might be down to the fact that I posted videos of like recording random sounds and processing them into drum sounds, into synth sounds, and like doing everything wrong because I wasn't like formally taught how to do stuff. I just did what sounded good. And so somebody might see what I'm doing and think he's doing it all wrong, but he's getting all this attention. and it would irritate them. But I think more in just terms of the genre of music and what it means to be a musician. Like, I guess, like, I see what they're trying to say about what a producer does, and they're not a musician, but I am a musician, and I still work with musicians. And in my opinion, like, a laptop and a MIDI keyboard is as much of an instrument as a guitar is, in my opinion.
I completely get it.
I guess, like, people look at what I do and think it's easy, or just like dragging and dropping samples into Ableton or whatever. But yeah, I write songs and do all the instrumentation, the drums and the mixing and endless sessions and
none of that's music, of course. I actually find that quite sad, actually, that it comes from musicians as well, who are just that sort of bitter and, like, you know, they were like...
It isn't a big number of people, though. I think it's just...
good.
I understand that if someone doesn't get electronic music and they're more of a musician and, you know, like bands and stuff, or even if they are a producer, I found that, like, a lot of people that were traditionally educated and then went on to getting, like, work experience in a studio, and then they're an assistant studio engineer or they're whatever, it was more that kind of person that would see what I'm doing, where I'm just sort of, like, essentially don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I think I need to do. And they see that this guy's doing everything wrong. I've been taught to do everything right, and yet this guy's got further in his career. And so it probably brings up emotions for people when they're swiping through Instagram and see this video's got like 50,000 likes, and it's some kid who's putting, like, reverb before a compressor or something, like, doing things all wrong. But it's like, my whole thing is, like, that there's baseline knowledge where you should learn what a compressor does, you should know what a limiter does, and maybe basic sound design, how to, you know, synthesis or like whatever. But beyond the really basic stuff that you learn, like, just as a beginner producer, everything else is just complete experimentation. It's nothing to do with... The same with playing the guitar, right? It's like, you can learn chords and you can learn how to be an efficient musician, which is what you do so well, and teach people, and everyone seems to, like, gravitate towards your positive energy and your skill and knowledge. But, like, you also... I imagine that what you do is the same as what I do with some students. Is like, at some point, you have to say, it's down to you. If you want to take this further, you need to know what your style is. Like, producers always ask me, how do they find their sound? And same with the guitarist.
You must get asked that all the time, I can imagine. And
the only answer is, like maybe you love, like, UK garage drums and you love jazz chords. Then, like, the only thing that any of us have that is original is ourselves. And people are so busy trying to be somebody else online, someone they think they should be, that they don't realise that they've already got all the ingredients to being successful. Like, your sense of humour, the way you talk and the way you hold yourself, and your tastes and all those things, the sooner you can be, like, more, like, real to yourself, the sooner you will find, like, a place on social media or in your career. And, like, I always use that guy, is it Francis, like, Boudoir or something, the train guy.
The train guy,
as a great example of, like, I don't give a damn about trains. I really couldn't care less. But I love how much he cares about trains.
Yeah, it's infectious, isn't it?
Yeah, so, like, you just have to... Like, if he tried to be somebody else, he'd have no success. But he's
that's so himself. True and so inspiring. And actually, I can see why you are a good educator as well as a producer, because that is the way you articulate that is so, like, genuinely lovely. I'm sure people would appreciate hearing that as well. I've got no order of these questions now. This is so professional.
Let's just bang them out.
Just bang them out now. There's two that I'm going to bang out fairly close together, right?
Yeah, go for it.
We're starting to get cabin fever now as well. We could just go off on one for another 2 hours, but I'm going to bring it back. I suppose it's my job to bring it back in with a couple of finale questions. So I think I asked and answered myself this in a previous podcast episode, and I love asking my own questions and then answering my own questions. And now it's your turn. What does the term success actually look like to you?
What does the term success mean to me? So I feel like we've probably spoken about this before. I feel like just on a personal level. And again, it probably sounds really, really cliche, but if you can wake up in the morning and just feel like fulfilled, like have you built something you're proud of? Are you a nice person? Do you have good friends? Are you a good friend? Are you stable? Like, it's quite easy to assume that like being success means like being rich and famous and
it is
all those things. But trust me, I know enough rich and famous people at this point that aren't anywhere near as happy as people that I know that aren't rich and famous.
Oh, you know? Mate, see, if I was a good host, I'd be like, give me some names. But I also don't really like, that's not really what I'm into, knowing who's rich and famous and unhappy. But anyway.
I mean, all you have to do is look at people that have had terrible experiences or, you know, had everything and lost everything or lost their lives or whatever, and because they couldn't be happy and they seem to have it all from the outside. And like on one hand, I'm kind of like reminded of what I've done over the past few years. Yeah, I bought a nice house and built a studio or a
beautiful
nice
studio, by the way. I've not seen your house yet, but if it's, you know, your studio is stunning.
Thank you very much. I think like buying nice stuff is like the stuff around me reminds me of what I've done, but like at the same time, I'm the happiest when I'm with my family or mates, which is something that you can do whether you've got a Grammy or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so, like, I was chatting to that guy, the billionaire that owned the house we were working in with the Chainsmokers. He was there for like 2 or 3 of the evenings. I was just sitting drinking whiskey with this guy, and we were talking about money because I was just fascinated by like someone's lifestyle, and they've got like he had something like 30 billion or something crazy, like some oil tycoon, and and he just said that like once you've bought everything you could ever need 10 times over, you're then still left to deal with the emotions that you couldn't deal with at the start of your life. It's like it's very hard to say to somebody who's struggling with rent, like, money won't make you happy, because it will help reduce stress for sure, but it definitely won't fix the problems that you may have already had or childhood stuff. And like even now, like I buy a new phone, something that I would have saved up for ages and loved, and or a piece of music equipment, and then like within a couple of days you're at baseline again, and that dopamine doesn't even hit anymore.
That's right, because there's no build up, is there? There's no like tension and release, is there? It's just a sort of like, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say no to being a billionaire, but I also probably, I don't know, maybe I'll live longer with less stress.
Well, that guy said to me that he was at his happiest when he made about 1 million.
Yeah, that's
and everything after that didn't do anything for him.
Really?
And so
that was
I think like
peak.
1 million times 100 is 100 billion. 100 million times 10 is 1 billion, and he had 30 of those. And he was saying that like once he had a house and didn't really have to worry about bills, and you know, he sold a company or something, he was like, that was great. And anything beyond that is just, it hasn't done anything for him apart from causing problems, because you can't trust people anymore. You can't like figure things out. And so I feel like true success just comes down to, are you content? Are you happy? And it's annoying because I know people that have like, from like an outside perspective, you might think have nothing, have like no career, or they hate their, or don't care about their job, no money, nothing. And they're just so irritatingly happy. Yeah. And it annoys me.
Yeah, how dare they be happy?
How dare they? But it's such a state of mind. And I think that those people will just know what's important, and that's family. And I think it is good to be working towards something and to feel like productive, maybe.
Absolutely. I think half the time that's what gets me through most of the days is sort of working towards things, because I don't know, I have to be busy all the time, and I have to keep my mind going, and I have to, at the end of the day, I don't really sit down and watch TV. I can't really switch off, and I think that's probably not the great thing either. But you have to keep going. You have to work. You have to have projects that I do. I'm going to say I'm instead of you. I have to have projects that I'm working on, and I have to have things happening all the time.
So you feel really like enthusiastic and excited, because you're like, oh, tomorrow I've got that thing to do, and then I'll do this and do that. Yeah. I've even found now, like, I was so ecstatic to go and buy a lawnmower the other day. So I've got a lawn now.
Did one of your neighbours not have a spare one?
I've already borrowed it once, and I couldn't borrow it again. And I'm getting a strimmer to cut the bush, and like a little pick to like get rid of the weeds out of the patio, and just having your mind focused on something, and just like washing the car by hand because there's a freaking hosepipe ban around here.
Oh, mate!
Just like things to do and to be
feels
feel
good,
proud of.
Yeah, it is feeling proud, actually. You and I both got our first houses like pretty close together. We've had this one like 2 years. I do feel very lucky, but also I do feel very proud now.
I joked about I'm still mates with my landlord that we used to rent a 1-bed flat in St Margaret's in London. Yeah. And I love the landlords. They're amazing. And I always joke, like I joked and would like say, should I text Paul and ask him to come and fix the sink in our house now? Because that was great. Like, having someone to fix all the problems, because now it's great to have a house, but it's also becomes an endless money pit of like fixes and
mate, having a positive experience with a landlord in London. Fair play to you, mate.
Open rent. If anyone wants to rent a place in London, use open rent and don't use an estate agent, because you get to meet the actual owners of the house. Yeah, which is everyone's more personable.
Yeah, which is ideal, isn't it? Right, one guy that definitely doesn't rent, but one guy I'm dying to know about as well. Because I actually don't know. Like, some of the artists today, of course, I know, but this one I've honestly been dying to know. I'm going to put this guy who is in Take That. I got really excited a couple of years ago when I had my Wedding Singer account, and I put up a cover of E17, and they started following me, and I was like, oh my gosh. Really? Like, it takes me right back to like when my sister had the tapes, and then the mini disc was like short-lived, but she had the tapes, and then it was like, I always preferred Take That. They were my thing. Take That and Party. So what was it like working with Gary Barlow?
That was a funny one, because it's so random, but I've got ads on Instagram and Facebook for my online store. Yeah, sure. I was living in Wantage last year, and I just completely out of the blue, I got a DM on Instagram from Gary Barlow saying, "Thanks for this, mate. It's great." But there was no context. There was no messages above.
What?
And my immediate thought was like, "Oh my God, did I try and send him a demo of mine like 5 years ago?"
Yeah.
And hoping that he responded, and I just can't see the message history or something. Yeah. So I said something like, "I've got no idea what you're talking about."
That's what happens when all of us get drunk, by the way. We DM Gary Barlow.
I just thought maybe he was responding to a message I sent him so long ago when I was trying to get a publishing deal. But it wasn't that. It turns out he'd just seen one of my adverts and bought one of my sample packs.
Oh, no.
And DM'd me to say, "Thanks, this is great." And so we just started talking on Instagram.
Wow.
And then somehow he said, "I've got a couple of songs if you want to have a go at them." So he sent me like some stems on email, and I produced this song that ended up going nowhere. But he basically responded to it with like the most lovable like boomer text language ever. He was like saying, "OMG, this is great," like all the thumbs up emojis and stuff.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And
love it. Yeah,
he just happened to have been. He has a house in London and a house in the Cotswolds, and Wantage is like on the way to the Cotswolds. It's like a 5-minute detour, and he was so happy with the song that I'd produced for him that he said, "Where do you live?" And I explained, and he was like, "Oh, it was for going towards Christmas." He's like, "I'm going back to the Cotswolds for Christmas. I can swing by." And I was like, okay. So we got a date in the diary, and then I just remember like
Buying
looking out the
tea bags
window
and
to see him
biscuits.
coming, and he just pulled up and got out the car and with like his hat down, I'm guessing because he's quite a recognisable person.
Oh yeah.
And just ran up the steps of our house, and yeah, like we just spoke in my studio for like a couple of hours, and he just explained that he's got loads of work that he can give to me, and
Bloody
he'd
hell,
like me to
man.
join his like little roster of producers and stuff. And I still
Wow.
make stuff for him now. Like even like Veronica made him cookies,
Wow.
and he took them home to his daughter and sent a picture of her enjoying the cookies.
I find that's amazing. Really, that is so sweet.
It
It's
was
like
so weird.
a friendship as well.
Yeah, like even like what you were saying about modern artists, like I love everyone that I work with, but they're quite new, so there's not much history with them.
Yeah.
But Gary, he's been around since we were
Yeah.
born.
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
there's,
absolutely, yeah.
whether you know him from the X Factor or like from Take That or from his own songs, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it was just very strange having him just there in front of you, just talking,
Really?
and
Yeah.
just like in our house.
Yeah.
And it was so random.
I couldn't get my head around that, I don't think.
But he was a lovely man as well. Like he was just
Oh,
so well media trained. Like you can tell he's just like a brilliant
Really?
talker.
yeah.
And like
Yeah.
he was like a golden retriever in human form. He was just like
yeah,
a
he's got
lovely
quite a
guy.
soft voice, isn't he? Even
Yeah,
with
he
his
just-
accent, he has quite a soft voice.
I,
He like-
I've got like a few dozen voice messages from him on WhatsApp where we sort of communicate in
Oh,
messages. And he's
I used to see. He's one of those, is he? He's a voice noter, is he?
yeah, so he'll just send like he's a good example of pushing sometimes, and like
Really?
and trying to bug people a bit, because I made like 4 songs for him, and then he went off on tour for like 2 years, and so we didn't get to like finish them. And so like
BRB 2 years.
yeah, but it was like 2 years, and then he came back, and then I responded to like one of his Instagram stories because he was like in his studio or something, and I said I'd already texted him in the meantime, and he hadn't responded, so I could have just thought I was busy, or like he's over me, he doesn't want to like use me
Oh.
anymore for this stuff, and so I just texted
Was
him
it
again.
something I said? Was it the
That's how I
cookies?
felt.
Was that how I made tea?
And he was like, I responded to his story saying like, oh, nice studio, like, you know, we should finish some songs or do some stuff. And then like an hour later, I get like a 3-minute voice message on WhatsApp from him saying like, Rob, I'm so sorry. I'll be honest, I completely forgot about you.
Yeah. Well,
Because he was off on
at least
tour
it
for
is
2 years,
honest.
and he's always busy. And so
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's a good lesson, like just to, like we were saying in the commercial break, was like,
The comfort
don't be
break.
afraid to follow up with people, because everyone's busy, everyone misses stuff. And then because
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
I've now made 4 more songs with him.
That's
just by
incredible.
responding to an Instagram story.
See,
So-
although, and then this is the thing, like, we may know these things, and this is sort of like, I keep talking about the previous episode, but a lot of the stuff that Alex said about practicing and playing guitar and commitment and etc. etc. He said to me afterwards, he said, I don't think I said anything that people don't already know, but I said, well, actually, they need to hear it, and they need to hear it from somebody who has
Yeah.
done it. And it's just exactly the same with you here. You say, you know, following up with people. Well, actually, I do know that that's a thing, but I don't really do it. But now, after speaking with you today, I get it again. You know, we need to hear these things every now and then, and from different people to go, okay, I'm going to implement these.
Do you know, even with working with brands, right, which is what I do a lot on social media.
Yes.
So Universal Audio, like a very premium brand who I loved,
Absolutely, they are, man.
and they didn't reach out to me. I just emailed a couple of years ago. I just emailed like 30 brands and said like who I was, what I'm trying to do, and like what I'd love to work with you. Like just said an email saying I love your stuff, and I've got like this audience here. Maybe I could like make a video with you, a paid collaboration, or just anything like.
Yeah.
And if not, perfectly fine. But I just thought I'd reach out and say like I've really enjoyed using your stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And Universal Audio was one of like 3 companies that even replied to me, and they said and they completely resonated with the email that I'd written. Someone on their marketing team just like looked at my stuff and was like, this is like a nice approach, and they appreciated that.
Really?
And from that, like anytime they've got new products out, whether it be their interfaces or plugins, they just send it to me, and we just make videos together, and they pay me for it. But this didn't come because I was some big shot wannabe influencer.
Yeah.
I basically went out begging companies to work with me, and they were one of the ones that replied. So it's like you have to go out and grab things. You can't wait for it to come to you.
Why I'm so pleased that we're hearing this from you, because you sort of think, to get someone's attention these days, you have to be really extravagant, and you have to, almost not be rude, but, you have to get right in front of their face. And actually, you're sending out an email. It's very polite and gentle, and saying, but, I completely understand if, that this is not suitable. And they're like, actually, it is. We really like you.
But then if you send an honest email out with your personality, you'll find brands that also appreciate your personality.
Yeah.
And you'll have a long relationship with them, because there are some brands where they're just, I've met many brands that are just not nice people, or like they're just harsh and
Go
a bit
on,
like
who? again.
Just some.
I don't really get a lot of
like. I'll tell you off air.
Okay, all right then. Then I'll post it up on air.
Just like some that maybe they aren't rude or mean, but they're just you don't align with them. And in the early days, you're like, well, I want to get as many paid promotions as I can because I'm trying to earn a bit of money here. But what's worth more is a long-term relationship. And now I personally know many people in Universal Audio, and we're like good friends, and we talk a lot.
It's long-term now, isn't it?
It's come from that, and like, and now it's like, it's quite a nice thing. Like if they send me a new interface or something, it's like, I will do everything I can to explain to everyone how great this company are, because the people are nice. Yeah. And like, I'll still say things that are honest. Like, it's kind of annoying to have an internet connection to use these plugins, because you've got to use iLock, and a company like Waves, you can just install them and be done with them, and you can use them without having to be connected.
Yeah.
And I'll say there's pros and cons to each company, but
I think that again goes with the whole authenticity thing we were speaking about earlier. I genuinely prefer those types of videos where you are hearing about some cons as well, because I don't believe the ones that are like, it's normally, oh my gosh, I'll say it's normally younger people, when the younger content creators who are making the videos, who are like, this is amazing because you can do this and you can do that, and this is it. It's just, I don't really believe you.
Yeah, it's what I think. I feel like it's quite hard for them because they're desperate to get the credibility of working with a certain brand. So maybe some brands will say, we'll pay you to make a positive review, which is fine. But then if they're not a big enough influencer anyway, like big enough influencers that have something worth saying won't jeopardize their integrity by not being honest about something. So I feel like if someone's always just posting positive stuff about a brand, like there's always negatives about brands, and it's not a mean thing to say that.
No, it's expected, isn't it?
Yeah, because Universal Audio like lead the way in like so many ways. But when it comes to plugins and licenses, it's a difficult industry because people are trying to pirate them, and people do want to go to like subscription-based plugins, but then that alienates someone who spent like 10 grand on the Universal Audio bundle, and now somebody can pay $10 a month and get all those same plugins to rent them, whatever. But like, yeah. So anyway, I won't badmouth my sponsor, and this video is sponsored by Universal Audio.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. Your new best mates, your best buddies. Brilliant. I think as much as I'm getting continuous information out of you, which therefore the listeners are as well, I think we're due a part 2 at some point. But I think for today we will leave that one there. I genuinely cannot thank you enough. This has been way better than I thought it would be, and I feel funny saying that, but you're my friend, so I can say that. Like this, have such a great, like, you have so much experience and you are so good at articulating it as well. I think it's been so interesting. I have learned so much. So I cannot thank you enough, Rob. Seriously, you have been brilliant.
You're very welcome, Adam. And I hope people that are listening enjoyed, didn't get too put off by the fact that I was saying you got to grind your life away to find any husk of success.
They need to hear it.
Yeah, it's a harsh truth, but it's always it's fun, mate. We haven't caught up in a while, and so again,
we're gonna catch up properly soon. All right,
mate. Yeah, thank you for the kind words, and yeah, we'll speak soon.
Yep, thank you so much, mate.